You're listening to the Money Mike syndicated radio show. We're going to keep you up to date and current in all sports. We'll make sure you're aware of everything in corporate and enterprise business. And most of all, we'll share with you how to make a little more money as we cover the NBA, the NFL, and Major League Baseball. All colleges. You're listening to the Money Mike syndicated radio podcast, folks. Here's what we got. Lin Dunn's going to step aside as general manager, going to be the special advisor coming in there for the Indiana Fever. Now, what does that mean? New faces, new places. Lin Dunn handpicked Christie sides. Christie sides, I think, may want to take some serious consideration. Why? Normally, you get a new president, you get a new general manager, they're going to want their own coach. That is shocking. But that's the WNBA. Dunn is an excellent general manager, but she understands the times have changed. And when times change, you move forward in a different direction. And that's what you're looking at now. And again, back to Christie Sides. I think Christie Sides is an excellent college coach, excellent teacher. As far as being a pro coach and going up, the new coaches that are coming in, and I tell you, WNBA, I feel, is going to go high profile on the coaches. What is, you look at it, University, Columbia College, been associated with the Phoenix Mercury, lots of experience, Major League Soccer, chief marketing officer. So she knows the business, and she knows the business well, and she knows the business of making a sports franchise successful. Is that the type of leadership that the Indiana Fever need? Absolutely. Is that the kind of leadership Caitlinclark needs? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. Caitlinclark is a different player, generational style player, and you got to look at that and say to yourself, at the end of the day, we got to put the best team, the best network on the floor. We got to maximize this opportunity with Caitlinclark, and that's what the Indiana Fever are doing. Dunn swallowed the pride, okay, but what does it do? It changes the landscape for Christie Sides. Christie Sides is not sitting there with an advocate. Asked, do you want to risk your career, Christie Sides, on having the Indiana Fever job? If it doesn't work out, the termination or being fired is inevitable. And it's going to happen to every professional coach, no matter how good you are. Most coaches, they don't get a chance to walk out on their own. They're told when they have to leave. And when you look at a new president, okay, let's be honest, that resigned. You got a new general manager, chief operating officer, okay? So you're looking at somebody that's looking in day-to-day operations, how we can maximize revenue, and we can maximize our client image. Corporate enterprise business for the Indiana Fever. They have an all-star game to host that's going to be less than 12 months away. They need somebody that can get in there and execute and do it with efficiency. Because it's going to come down to revenue, expenses. Your client image is the most important, and that's what Nike wants, and that's why you haven't seen any Nike commercials, because of client image. Once you clean up the client image, now you're talking about safety, security, and stability. And what do you mean by that? The safety, the players who are saying fans are treating them wrong, we got to clean that up, and we got to make sure we put a first-class product on the floor. And you cannot, I reviewed the commercials, you cannot have Nike run commercials that they've already done, but the players that are in the commercials are the ones that are speaking out against the fans. Nike's in the business of selling shoes. Indiana Fever, Amber Cox understands that, okay? And you've got other players that are going to benefit for being on the Indiana Fever. That's why Lin Dunn said help is on the way. There are players, franchise players, that want to come to the Indiana Fever. The Indiana Fever are going to make that happen. The unprotected six, right? What does it come down to, the protected versus the unprotected six? You got to ask yourself, Kelsey Mitchell, Elias Smith. Okay, those are the two we got concerns, and we got to ask that. Mitchell needs to come out and say either I want to be an Indiana Fever or I don't. Okay, because when it comes down to what can you package together, what trade can you make, now's the time. New president, new chief executive officer, they're going to do things differently. Now it's like, you don't want to be with the Fever. We have no hesitation to get you where you want to be so we can get the players in that we want to have. I believe, this is my opinion, when you have a 6-foot point guard or a combo guard like Caitlin, you want an interchangeable guard that's going to be about the same, 6 feet. You want to get Lexi Hole in there, 6'1", 6 feet. It's going to exchange that 3 and D. Okay, now you got to get a stretch 4, and you got 2 good 5s. Okay, so really, Alyssa Smith's going to find her way. Now, now with Alyssa Smith. Alyssa Smith is not a starter on the top 6 teams. There's players who are sitting in her box who are now the starters on the top 6 teams. Caitlinclark has changed the WNBA. Okay, the TV contract, the client image is the most important thing in the WNBA today. And if you can't maintain that, so now Indiana Fever's changing their client image. They're saying, hey, the Simon family, we bring in a new president resigned. We got a general manager. We love you, Lin Dunn. No problem. You can be an advisor. You're going to step aside. We love you. The Simon family loves Lin Dunn. She won a WNBA championship there, folks. Don't forget it. Okay. Now, her pupil was Christie Sides. Is Christie Sides going to be able to stay in the pupil's role? Because new president, new general manager means new coach, because you want your own people. Your own people are accountable for the Simon family of the job that they want to do. Changes in the Indiana Fever, but that's just not happening. Atlanta Dream coach, out. You got LA Sparks coach, out. And I got a great recipe for you, like cooking. It's going to be on the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. That's 7-style greens. I got one other issue. Go back to this and really understand. I want to know how the Minnesota Lynx, okay, you get Cheryl Reeves, who is now the coach of the year and the executive of the year, but the Minnesota Lynx have a general manager. That's right. I believe it's an African-American general manager. I don't know, but that person must be a figurehead, because they weren't even considered an executive. They gave that to Cheryl Reeve. Those are the things that the Indiana Fever don't want anything to do with. They want to do it above board, make the transition, make the changes, and the conversations are happening with Christie Sides. If you don't survive this, it's going to take you down, and you'll be an assistant in the WNBA. I understand you want to be a head coach, Christie Sides. I know you enjoy being a head coach. You enjoy running your program. You got to have high-profile coaches. And I told you Becky Hammond, I'll bring you that story, because with Becky Hammond, the Aces, she's just so fed up that Becky Hammond, it's time for you to go back to the NBA. That's where Becky Hammond belongs. Too intelligent, too smart of a coach, and she just doesn't have the patience for the WNBA players. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast.
You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio show. We're going to keep you up to date and current in all sports. We'll make sure you're aware of everything in corporate and enterprise business. And most of all, we'll share with you how to make a little more money as we cover the NBA, the NFL, and Major League Baseball. All colleges,
we're out enjoying some of the beautiful sunshine. It's reunion week. Me and my college buddies are getting back. Friends for 40 years, we're back in the saddle. Arguing, fighting, telling the same old stories once again, but we're having fun. That is shocking, but that's the WNBA.